be beneficial to the city, and we just thank you for this season and look forward to these upcoming days. And we just praise you and thank you. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. And before we go any further, I'd just like to ask for a little moment of silence. If you may or may not be aware, Walter Newman Sr. Passed away Saturday night at the age of 91. And just please a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Davis.
Present.
Hutchins.
Present.
Candia.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina.
Present.
Mayor Caton.
Present. Item 5, declaration of conflicts of interest. Seeing none, we'll go to item 6, ceremonial matters. We don't have any this evening. Go to item 7, items from the public, non-agenda item. Any member of the public wish to address council, now is the time to do it. Okay, we'll go to item 8, consent calendar. A is waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions set by title. B is approval of the warrants. C is approval of the minutes of November 13, 2012 regular meeting.
Make a motion, we approve the consent calendar as is.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Go to item 9, public hearing. A is adopt resolution number 2012, next in number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4. Chief?
Evening, Mayor, council members. Before you tonight is a abatement of a yard and the inside of the residence. Abatement notices for properties maintenance were sent out to several properties with accordance to ordinance 95-4, chapter 2, title 8-2-3. The notices informs the property owners of their right to a public hearing and their options to review or fix their properties prior to this point at the night. As of December 10th, this property that in question, we have one tonight, was checked and is still in the same standings as the pictures you'll see on the screens in front of you. This one's a little bit different than some in the past. This is an outside and an inside that needs to be cleaned up, and the house does need to be boarded up. So I'll bring it back to you, council, for consideration.
Okay. Any comments or questions by the council? I'll open the public hearing. Anybody wish to address the council regarding this property? Seeing none, close public hearing, bring it back to council for direction.
I'll make a motion we adopt resolution number 2012, next is number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 9564.
Second motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, we'll go to item 10, regular business. A is consider financial pledge for weekend wellness.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. Tonight, we received a request from the Newman Crows Landing Unified School District after-school program, who is joining together with the school district, the CHS, which is the Center for Health Services, and the Salvation Army, and there's other local service groups that are joining in. The goal of the program is to fund a local program aimed at eliminating hunger for children within our community. There are a number of families that have been identified within our community where the children don't always have sufficient amount of food. And during the week, the kids go to school and they get the breakfast and the lunch, but on the weekends they really are probably undernourished. And so the goal would be to get to buy food and then to send it home with them on the weekends. So what they're asking for is they're looking for donations from not only, at this point in time, they're asking it from the city, but we put in requests to our paychecks, and any individual can also contribute. Because the program will be operated by district personnel and as well as personnel with, again, Center for Human Services, all the overhead's already done, so any donation that's going to go to this program will go directly to food purchases, and they'll be working with a third party out of the Modesto area that already provides food to residents of Stanislaus County, and they buy it in bulk, so the dollar will stretch farther. So, as you can see, there's some paperwork that Ms. Mary Hill, unfortunately, she wasn't able to attend tonight, but I do see that which we do have someone in the audience tonight that'd be willing to speak on this. They've put together some packages. They put together some flyers that we put in our paychecks. Again, just talking about the program, where 75%, over 75% of the children in this community qualify for free or reduced lunch. With the current economic instability of the country, as well as Stanislaus County and in particular the city of Newman, where unemployment can reach up to 20%. There's a lot of children in our community that go hungry every day. So the goal is to help these children, and by feeding them and making sure that they're nourished, their attention in class is improved. They're able to focus better on what the teachers are saying. They're able to behave a little bit better because their blood sugar levels aren't getting low. So again, the goal is here to help these children. I guess the official term is food insecure, and they've identified again over 350 kids in our district that are food insecure, and that's a lot of children.
Michael, did Mary say, I know when we met with her and when she first approached us with this, one of the questions I had, and I was very curious, I wondered how many children actually within our city fall within that category. She said that was a number she could get.
Yeah, she didn't provide the number, but you got to remember a large portion of our district does reside within our.
Yeah, no, I understand it, but I was just curious how many children within the city limits
Yeah.
fall in that category. You just,
She didn't provide that number. Okay, we're not exactly sure of that number, but district-wide, they're estimated, in the range of 350 children in the district.
Well, that's
that
way
have
too
that
many,
level.
no matter how you cut it.
Yeah, that's a lot. So based upon our current budget and the community promotions, we're recommending that the council approve $500 for the remainder of this school year, and this program will kick off in January. And then what we can do is we're asking also maybe to show some good support moving forward. We'll pledge $1,000 to start off next school year to kind of keep that program going. So based upon where we're at budget-wise, we as staff are comfortable with those recommendations at this time. So, Julie, did you have anything that you wanted to add? You can step up to the mic right over here, please.
My name is Claire Patero, and I'm the coordinator for the after-school program at YOLO. And Mary's my supervisor, and I'm sorry she was ill this evening, so she asked me to come. There are a lot of children, like we said, about 350 students within the district that would go without possibly on the weekends. Now, we're not necessarily asking to feed all 350 of those, but the most needy out of those. And those students would be referred to by teaching staff, district staff, referrals through the FRC and the school nurse. So if there's any way that you could possibly find this within your budget, it definitely would serve many, many children. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Who actually implements the program with this many partners?
The implementation be through the after-school program, and they would take they're taking the lead on the program, and then the support again would come from Center for Health Services, because the whole idea is to distribute that during the after-school program at the end of the week, and then the children can then take that food home on the weekends. That's right. Is that right, Ms. Carroll? Yes.
Any other questions or comments by council? Council direction?
I'll make a motion, we consider the financial pledge for the weekend wellness. $500 for the remainder of this year and $1,000 for fiscal year 2013-14.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Item B, adopt resolution number 2012. Next, the number resolution receiving and accepting the general purpose financial statement and Transportation Development Act audits for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2012. Luke?
Good evening, Mayor and members of the Newman City Council. The books for fiscal year 2011-12 have been closed and audited. Michelle Gallagher, a partner in the accounting firm of Clinton and Bird and Company, is here to present the report. It should be noted that a separate financial report is no longer produced for the successor agency, our former RDA, as it is now treated as a fiduciary responsibility of the city and is included within the financial report before you. Michelle?
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Again, I'm Michelle Gallagher, one of the partners at Clinton and Bird. I was the lead auditor on this audit this year. We came out in, I believe, August or September to do our field work. Along with that, we were able to assess the city's financial situation. This year, again, you guys will have gotten an unqualified opinion. And during our audit, we also do reviews of the internal controls and assess those. And the two reports that are in the back of the financial statements report on those, not only that, but also the Transportation and Development Act. The internal controls are also unqualified. There are no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. There's no findings. There were a few audit adjustments, but they were standard and not material. There were a couple highlights I want to go over in the financial statements. At the beginning of the financial statements is the management's discussion and analysis, which is unaudited, is basically a summary of the financial condition of the city in more of a narrative versus all numbers, like the rest of the financial statements. One of the points that I did want to make was that your change in your net assets was about $355,000 this year, which is pretty good considering the economy and so on and so forth. On page 11, there are some comments about just the general government funds, in the fact that you guys did have a little bit of a decrease in your revenues, but you also did have quite a bit of considerable decrease in your expenditures. So your net change is positive for this year as opposed to your budget. The next thing I also wanted to point out was, as Lou said, the redevelopment agency did get dissolved, and treating that in this year's financial statements was a challenge, to say the least. But basically what happened is it was removed from the city's financial statements and is now being reported as a fiduciary fund. And so there is an unusual, extraordinary loss on the books for this year to recognize that. And you'll see that on page 16 and 17 is where that's located. There is a quite extensive note at the back of the notes that explains this. This was a narrative that was produced through the white papers that guided us on how to explain the transition between the RDA being within the city and coming out as a fiduciary fund. So that was the major change for your financial statements this year. If you see on page 33, that's where the fiduciary funds are being reported, and that's where they'll be reported until such time as there's either they're completely dissolved or when the city is able to transfer back the government use assets, which I know they will be working on this in the next year or so. So that's where the RDAs will now be reported. And then just to make a note that note is on page 57, and it's about 2 pages long. It sort of explains where the gains and losses being reported on the financial statements are coming from with the capital assets and your debt. And everything else is pretty much standard. Then again, there's nothing unusual or different other than this RDA stuff is the main point I wanted to kind of bring up. So, if there's any questions?
Any question or comments for Michelle? Council direction?
I so move that we adopt resolution number 2012, next number, a resolution receiving and accepting the general purpose financial statement and Transportation Development Act audit for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 12. I'm sorry.
Second the motion.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you very much.
Moving right along. Item 11. Items, comments from Supervisor DeMartini.
Good evening, Mayor Caton, council members and staff. I have with me today, and I brought a stack on the back table. This is the Healthcare Task Force new calendar for 2013. We just got it printed last week, so I've been bringing it around to the cities and the school districts. There were 4 winners from Newman, including the grand prize winner in the contest is this one, the upper one here from Newman. We thought that was really the best one. He was second grader, Daniel Gomez from Barrington Elementary. And so I thought the calendar came out real nice. This year's theme was, fill in the blank for the health of it. So this one, the winning one, says drink milk for the health of it. There were other ones that said bicycle, eat right, exercise. So it kind of ran the gamut. And it gave the kids some ability to be creative and come up with something that was good. And so we had about 300 entries this year. Then we had an essay contest also, so the participation was very good. I gave the awards all yesterday, 3 different schools, in 2 in Patterson and then here in Newman at the board meeting last night. So anyway, that's done. Please, take one home with you if you could find a place for it here in your city hall, and maybe perhaps distribute some at the library. They're very nice, and it's a project that we do into the schools to promote a healthier lifestyle. If you learn it when you're young, it's a lot easier than trying to correct some bad habits in your 40s or 50s. Also, last week I did present the plaque to the City Council in Patterson for the Biggest Loser contest winners. They had canceled their meeting. I was going to do it on a different week, and they canceled their meeting. So that was done last week. So the task force met last week in Gustine, so we're working on projects and how to apply for grants, and we had a pretty nice presentation there. And our next meeting will be here in Newman on January 31st. And I really don't have any other news outside of the task force. The air base is really, we're waiting for requests for proposals now. That won't happen until February 15th. And at this point, I don't think there's anything else going on. Unless you have any questions.
For Jim? All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
All righty, move on to item 12, items from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to remind the community and our council members that tomorrow evening we have the Kowalski Centennial Planning Committee meeting. That will be at 6 p.m. at the former council chambers. Now we call it the community meeting room. The Planning Commission will, at this point, is having a scheduled meeting for next Thursday, a week from this Thursday, the 20th. There's a new proposed commercial building coming into town. It's Dollar General. For those of you who have been around, Dollar General has opened up stores throughout the Central Valley. We're fortunate that this is one of the ones that they were actually constructing from the ground up. A lot of times they're taking over other sites. I know they have one in Hilmar. They're moving into Dos Palace, Los Banos, and a few other communities. So that's exciting that we'll have another retailer in town. A reminder that the next city council meeting will be canceled as tradition. That would be on December 25th. I'm assuming that nobody wants to come in on the 25th.
Why not?
Sure, everybody would want to be here, right?
I got drivers
anything
working that day.
So, and we will be closed that week of Christmas, the 24th through the January 1st, and offices will reopen on January 2nd. I want to take this opportunity. We've been very fortunate since the week after Thanksgiving. We've had 2 interns from France who have come to work with us, and here they are in the back row. They're getting a little bit embarrassed. Charlene and Magnon have come through, and they've been doing some projects for us and working and learning about local government in the United States, in particular here in Newman as well. So they've done a great job for us, and so want to thank them for the tribute. They'll stay here probably through the middle of next week. Yeah, through next week, and then they'll head back to France. So I'm hoping that they enjoyed their stay and were able to learn. So, and then again, because our next meeting is canceled, just like to take this opportunity to wish the council Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, as well as the community out there Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So I can answer any questions that you may have at this
Any
time.
questions or comments for Michael?
No, did you get our gifts?
Yeah.
Checks in the mail.
Jackson, yeah.
We didn't get yours either.
All righty
They
then.
must be crossing paths in the mail.
Comments are from the staff. Chief, anything?
I do have a couple things. Officer Ashley Williams came to me with a project that she wanted to do, which was shop with a cop. Other departments do it, but in Newman, since I've been here for 13 years, we have not done it. I don't know if it was done in the past. I gave her the green light, go ahead, made her run with the project. She was donated $1,600 by Walmart, coordinated with the school district to select 4 underprivileged children, 4 families. They'll be taken on the 14th with officers donating their time, and we're going to take them probably to Walmart, I would assume, and each
Good choice.
kid will receive $400 to do Christmas shopping. They can do the shopping for themselves or for family and friends. So that'll take place on the 14th, and we're pretty excited about that. With that, tickets for Tots, we closed in November. We ran through November month. We received, due to some poor driving and some generous people, we received great gifts, and we'll be delivering those tomorrow down to the theater for the Toys for Tots campaign, which runs this weekend. And with that, the holiday season is upon us. People are celebrating, so I just remind everyone to party safely, have fun, but designate a driver when you go places. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Questions or comments for the chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Stephanie, anything?
Yes, I have a few things. The 125th Kowalski Centennial Smoked Meatloaf fundraiser tickets are available on sale. They are now here at City Hall, and tickets will be dispersed to committee members at tomorrow's meeting. It includes smoked meatloaf, garlic, mashed potatoes, sweet corn, a roll, and a cookie for $8. It's a good price and a good cause, so spread the word. Staff has been working on concepts for a skate plaza at the site of the current skate park. You can see the slide before you. This is kind of the new trend in skate parks. Instead of just cement facilities, they're walkable open spaces that are aesthetically pleasing and also offer amenities for skaters, and they're wide open where other types of uses could be used, such as like scooters or even BMX riders can typically utilize these kind of amenities. We have already successfully secured about $105,000 through an HRP grant and are planning to pursue a Tony Hawk grant in February. A part of that grant is public participation, so staff would like to request the City Council's concurrence and support on the creation of a skate park committee. That would help our grant score higher and also involve the public, which is what it should be. We want to build this for the kids and for people who would use it, and I'm not a skateboarder, so I don't know what they want. So Stephanie House and I have been meeting a lot about this, and we're hoping that the council would bless that request to set up a committee. Should I wait for an answer?
Committees don't cost any money, so I'm sure you won't have no problem with that.
No, we already have a tentative list of people with your blessing.
You skateboard, don't you, Scott?
I used to.
I thought so.
We'll have to find our boards, so we can be ready. Yeah.
I think she's looking for an answer. Is that concurrence from council to form a committee?
Okay. Thank you. Moving on, we also received a zone change application for the Villas development. As you may be familiar, that is the high-density development in Sherman Ranch, right off the Hills Ferry there. The proposed development would decrease the total unit count by 20. So it'll still be a higher density development, but a little bit more fitting for Central Valley housing culture. So it's still in the initial processing stages, so you'll be hearing about that in the future. Staff is also beginning work on a complete streets program through our Blueprint Integration Toolkit grant, and we're looking forward to creating standards that will further improve our city's rights-of-way for both vehicular and pedestrian usage.
Complete streets are a really neat concept to talk about. It's not just a road, it's making it a better road for drivers, more aesthetically pleasing, but also safer for people to cross. And it's nice because it kind of ties in hand with our non-motorized transportation plan that we're finishing up. So we're happy to be moving on and getting these standards in place. That's all I have. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great. Questions, comments for Stephanie? Thank you. Lou, anything? Nothing? Garner, anything?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and council members. Just a couple housekeeping items for you. The public notice for the proposed water rates has been mailed with a public hearing established for January 22nd. In addition to that, we have the leaf pickup program and the tree pruning program will be starting this week. We've already did some leaf pickup starting last week, but with the completion of the tree lighting ceremony this weekend, now 4 crews will be out there getting the trees pruned and leaves picked up. In addition to that, we did receive all of our signs for replacing the street signs throughout the city, starting over in the Sherman Park Ranch area where we have a lot of faded signs. So I did see those sitting in the storage unit over in the corporation yard, so they'll be out replacing those the next month or so. In addition to that, I'd update you on a couple of upcoming projects we're working on Tulare Street between S and T Street. We're going to be replacing some curb and gutter. That project is under design at this moment, and we hope to have that one out to bid in the springtime. We're also working on a street maintenance and repair project. One street that was brought up was Patches Drive, and we're looking at that for some potential repairs to that and doing some fog sealing and then overlaying, finishing up P Street where we started the overlays a couple years ago. We're hoping to complete that project and finish it up. That's all I have. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Any questions of Garner?
So the tree was laying there.
What was that?
Nothing.
At least it's taller than Garner now, so it's.
Oh.
I can take care of that.
Okay, moving right along. You want to follow up on that, Councilman Hutchins? You're next.
I already stuck my foot in it. I might as well keep going. Probably, since we're going to have the public hearing on the 22nd of January, just probably in February, I will be doing, or like to do a PowerPoint presentation on the league goals this year. A lot of different things that we came up with. We had a meeting in Sacramento last month of all division leaders and the executive board of the California League of Cities, and came up with some goals. Fortunately, 2 of the goals, because we split up into cell groups, and 2 of the goals came out of our group, so it worked out pretty well. And but there's a lot of things, as we all know, that the state is working on, and we have to work to keep them from hurting us too much. So that will probably hopefully be coming up in February. And I'd also like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and be safe out there. That fog was bad this morning.
Great, thanks, Don. Roberta, anything?
I don't have anything.
Nick?
She's seen the fog before.
Bob?
Yes, I'd like to say I had the pleasure of doing the Christmas tree lighting. Our mayor was out of town. It was a great evening for a lot of people. We had put it off from the week before when we had all the rain, and it was a real nice turnout, and the weather was very nice. There was no wind, and it was just a great evening. I know that a lot of people really enjoyed being out there, and our mall looked beautiful, as it always does, and with all the Christmas tree lighting and everything. But the city has to be proud of that whole thing when it looks so nice, and everyone had such a good time. And then afterwards, a lot of people, they went to the different restaurants and were able to enjoy the food at the restaurants. So it was a good thing for Newman. But thank you, Chamber, for all your efforts, and everyone else and all those people that worked so hard to make it a wonderful event. Anyway, thank you so much. That's all I have.
Great, thanks. Just a couple little things. Saturday night I was out of town, and I had the pleasure of taking the Miss Newman Court to San Jose, where we were a guest of Walt Newman Jr., which is an annual trip. He takes the girls out to brunch at a restaurant and then takes them to the theater, the children's theater. This year was Les Mesral. Great. If you've never been to the children's theater in San Jose, it is a treat. The actors do a great job. A couple years ago, we saw Miss Saigon, But again, we're always the guests of Walter Newman. Unfortunately, his evening ended sadly with his dad passing that night about 8:30. So I just spoke with Walt again today and let him know that City of Newman offers their condolences and that we were flying our flags at half-mast in honor of his father. I asked staff if they would do up a resolution, which Michael Meyer got done, and I'll be forwarding that off to the family tomorrow or next day or two. I talked to Walt today. Unfortunately, I cannot go to the funeral, and that's Friday morning at 10 in San Francisco. So, however, it's being impersonal, but he said, I can mail it, and it would be graciously accepted by his mom. So, unless anybody's going to go to San Francisco, they could hand deliver it. If nobody's going to be able to make it, then I'll have it mailed. So, and with that, I'd also like to say our downtown always looks really, really nice every year with all the lights and everything, and we get a lot of nice comments. And not that I think our staff needs any more work, but I think as our trees grow, maybe we need to throw on some more lights.
We actually doubled them this year.
Yeah.
Every tree this year got twice
Yeah,
what it had
it's-
in last year, and we're going to try and do that again.
It looks nice, and so I think as the trees grow, so our lights should grow. So it does look good, so I appreciate the hard work
You got it.
that Public Works puts into that. So,
They all grow except for one.
I wasn't going to go there. I think it looks great.
I do too, thank you.
I think it looks great. So, let's see.
I didn't say it this time.
If you ever hear the real story, you'll be surprised.
Okay, if there's nothing further, this meeting is now adjourned.
Before we get garnered into much more trouble.
There's some miracle grow on it.
Need some fertilizer.